Hello, everyone. It's Warriors NRL Fanatics. Hope you're all doing well on this Tuesday evening. And apologies for the delay on our end here, but it's good to have Hainsey on actually to preview this clash between the Sydney Roosters and the One New Zealand Warriors on Friday night at Geo Media Mount Smart Stadium in Auckland, New Zealand. It's good to have you on, Hainsey. It's always good to have hear your thoughts and opinions on all things Sydney Roosters, your passion and love for the Roosters there. But it's good to see you and hope you're doing well.
Christian, mate, thanks very much for having me on again. It's always a pleasure. Hope you stayed safe in the cyclone last week or so. Hope everything is all good down the coast there. But yeah, that was great to be back on here yet again on the Warriors NRL Fanatics channel. Been on here a couple of times now. Always looking forward to our match previews and all that. It's going to be a great game on Friday. Can't wait to get stuck in and take a deep dive into the game on Friday.
Yeah, and of course, both our teams coming off wins last week, especially big upset results when you think about how many people rid off the likes of the Warriors and the Roosters last week. Obviously, you guys won against Penrith, and we bet the Seagulls at home. So those were two big results, and very important results because it's good to get your first win of the season, even though it's quite early on in the year, but. Yeah, it's good to have you on, Hainsey. It's good to see you doing well. And just want to pop into the chat as well. Hello to everyone in the chat. We've got Jason Reeder, massive Roosters fan. Jacko as well. Good to see Jack in the chat. Always here. And Jacko, yes. And we've got Tane as well. And we've got CJ Moxley as well. Good to see you, CJ Moxley, in the chat. Of course, he's saying
Muppet.
come on the wires.
Muppet.
Couldn't help himself there with the rivalry.
He couldn't help himself. The random South fan in here, of course. Of course.
Yeah, of course, as you would expect. CJ's wanting the Warriors to win, but there's no surprise there. But yes, this game this weekend. So first things first, I want to actually ask you some questions around your boys and how your team tracked during the off season. That's been and gone. There was a few noticeable players leaving at the end of last year. You've had Hargraves, Keary, Joey Manu, Suali'i as well. And you signed Chad Townsend, and there was another person you signed as well. Correct me on that one.
Do you want to have a go at pronouncing it?
Yeah. I'm not going to try because I'm going to butcher it.
Yeah, Martin Wanganitawase, yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah,
so yeah.
He came last year for one game, but he was meant to be a 2025 signing, but the Wallabies released him early because he wasn't a part of that test series against I can't remember who it was, and I'm pretty sure the Bledisloe Cup was beforehand. It was after the Olympics anyway. It was after the Olympics there. But yeah, so they were the two signings, and we had a couple obviously 7 players to part over the off season. Obviously, the main ones there: Jared, Luke Keary, Suali'i, Manu. Then obviously, all the debacle about Terrell May as well, Satili Tupanua. So there's players there that depart over the off season. But obviously, we signed Chad Townsend midway through last year as sort of security / backup, and it's actually turned out to be a very important signing after the injury to Sam Walker in late last year. So obviously he's going to go and fill that void there until we get him back in the next 8 to 10 weeks or so, getting back around 12. So yeah, look, obviously, when you see these players depart, with obviously everyone expects us to go into the market and buy every player under the sun, but we've gone a different approach this year. We've backed the youth, and it was on full display last week against the Panthers. But we got local juniors coming through the ranks, and they're doing a job for us. So it's a bit of a transition period at the club at the moment, but as we saw the first couple of weeks, we're not. Even good or bad performances, we've seen some shining lights and showing, the potential that they have, that they're going to have a long and successful first grade career.
Yeah, and I'm just popping into the chat. Hello to Janet saying here, can't wait till Friday night. Was exciting last week. The atmosphere was electric, and yeah, we'll be there to help and encourage the Warriors along the way, which is good. Janet, good stuff there. And yeah, the boys are gonna need all the support they can get for this massive clash on the weekend, on the Friday, actually on Friday night. But yeah, the players that um you mentioned there that have left. Are you worried with the amount of players you've left, the likes of Suoliti, Kiri, Joey Hargraves? How do you think this may will affect the side into the future? Do you think you're positive about the future of your club moving
Yeah,
forward, or?
yeah, 100%. Like, obviously optimistic on this year itself.
Mm,
Obviously we've seen the good and the bad so far in 2025, but yeah, look, I think we've got a great squad coming through. We've still got some really great players still. Like leaders like in Tedesco, Angus Crichton, Lindsay Collins, just to name a few. We've still got a great talented squad there. Obviously, I reckon we'll get better towards the back end of the season when we get Brandon Smith and Sam Walker back towards the back end of the season. And then obviously next, and I think this year itself, if we do have a season where we miss the top eight, it is what it is. At the end of the day, we look into the future, look at the brighter picture. We're going to see young fellas coming through who have game time in first grade. And that's just going to improve their confidence. Come the next couple of years, we'll have a really gel team with a great balance between old and new, and a little bit of recruitment along the way. And, we'll, be back up there as a premiership threat, if it's not this year, with the year after or the year after that.
yeah. And of the players that you got at the moment, like obviously, you got Sam Walker there still, but he's injured at the moment. Like, how long do you think it'll be until we see Sam Walker back in the side?
From when I spoke to him at the fan day a couple of weeks ago, he reckons around mid-June. That's what they're aiming for.
Right.
But
Mm,
round 12, most likely. That's what they hoping for. Brandon Smith is round 15. Now,
yep.
Brandon Smith, so Cheese is a little bit delayed because obviously when obviously they did their ACL at the same game, unfortunately. But Cheese also did his MCL at the same time, so they couldn't operate on his MCL till um, the swelling and the healing process began with his ACL. So that's why he's a little bit pushed back than Sam Walker. But hopefully, yeah. But apparently, from what I've heard, it's all tracking well, and he's hopeful for around 12 return at the earliest, which would be huge for us, especially going into the Origin period.
Yeah, and on Brandon Smith, there's some rumors going around at the moment. I don't know how much you are aware of his situation with his contract. There's some rumors going around about your rivals, South,
Mm.
potentially signing him. Well, what's your overall thoughts on that? Like, how do you think you're gonna
Yeah.
see him hang around, or is he? Do you think he's off to?
Look, I hope that he stays around this year at least.
Mm,
Look, I think it's pretty much all but confirmed that he's going to South.
yep,
Look, not a fan of anyone Roosters play that heads to our arch rivals, but look, it's a situation where the club doesn't want him, unfortunately. And I do think that he's been a little bit unlucky with us, to be fair. A lot of people, kick the boot in to him that he hasn't worked and all that, but he's actually played some good football for us. He's just been unlucky with injury. Like his first year, like I don't think it's very hard to be a standout at your new club in your first year, especially
mm,
coming from a system like the Melbourne Storm in 2023. It took him a while to get his feet. And obviously he had that wrist injury midway through 2023. But once he come back towards the back end of the season in 2023, it was actually, you can see the improvement that he had. And obviously in last year, I thought he was fantastic. He was one of our best players last year, Brendan Smith, one of our most improved as well. And obviously, unfortunately, that his season was cut short due to a knee injury. It was very unlucky. And then obviously, we signed Reece Robson over the offseason for 2026, which now obviously secured that Brandon Smith is not in the plans of the Roosters in the future. Look, I don't think Brandon Smith is an out and out 80-minute hooker. I think he's an explosive 40-minute player where he can change games like that with a heartbeat. So, as much as I'd like to have him stick around to, just, play as a 13, as come off as a forward, middle forward, we've got room for him, but obviously he wants to play 9. That's not in our interest. So he's going to a club that needs a 9 at the moment, it looks like. So he wants to link up with Wayne Bennett, and I wish him all the best. I'm not going to hold grudges there because the club doesn't want him to be here. So it's not like, he's walking out to go sign with South. He's basically been forced out the door, which is a shame. But at the end of the day, I respect why, and hope for the best for him.
Yeah, and look, just going into the player that you think, in terms of a young player, who's a young player that you like at the moment you think is a player that all NRL fans should be looking out for the Roosters this season?
I've said it for a couple of years now, Rob Toyer. I've been
Yep.
obviously like yourself, fanatics. You watch the lower grades very closely, and most diehard fans of their respective clubs do. That I'm no different. I like to watch all grades of the Roosters, from obviously first grade, the NRLW, reserve grade, SG Ball, Harold Matts, Jersey Flag. I'll watch all of it. And I've been keeping an eye and just watching Rob Toyer come through the grades. He's a gun. And he's been unlucky with injury. I saw him in glimpses last year in New South Wales Cup, and just how damaging he can be. So I always expected him this year to debut. Didn't see him debut this early, but the first 2 games you've seen what he has and what the potential he has in the NRL. So definitely keep an eye out on Rob Toyer in the next couple of seasons, because I reckon if he plays a lot of first grade this year, he'll go close to winning Rookie of the Year, and then I reckon he'll be eyeing off He's a Queenslander too, Christian. So you'll like that. So
Yeah.
So we'll definitely see him in the Queensland jersey in the future. But he's a standout. And we've seen a little small package of it over the first couple of weeks of the season, but he'll just get better and better each week.
Yeah. I saw some. Yeah, we saw some glimpses of him playing already this season. So yeah, he looks like one of those players to look out for in the future as well.
He's a very powerful centre too. Very, very powerful.
Yeah. So just going through the comments as well. I'll just pop into the comments again. So good to see everyone there. Mikael saying this should be a good game. Both Warriors and Roosters coming off massive wins. I'm going to tip the Warriors win at home. Jacko is just pointing out with the cheese. The cheese will be pulling on a Rabbitohs jersey. Well, yeah, that looks pretty much likely as to what will be the case there. But
he's supposed to sign in the next 48 hours to South. But don't know if it's going to be this year or next year. We'll wait and see.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on obviously the signing? I'm not going to try and say his name. I'm going to butcher it.
Best way to say it, just go Marky Mark. Best way to say is Marky Mark.
Yeah. What is your thoughts on him? Yeah. What is your thoughts on him?
Look.
So far?
I've got a lot of mates who are, who know Marky Mark very, very well, and they just always spoke highly of Marky Mark. Obviously we've seen glimpses of him in rugby, whether it will be for the Wallabies or for the rugby sevens. He's shown that talent, and obviously it was going to be, I saw him play a couple, so obviously he got released early to play for the Roosters after the Olympics last year, and Robbo didn't hesitate to put him in New South Wales Cup and basically get him. I think that's one thing that's helped him well, that that the Wallabies released him early and he got him to the club a lot earlier so we can develop him more. And from the trial games, it was pretty not trial games, from the New South Wales Cup games he played last year, it was pretty evident straight away that he would be a great player in the NRL. Like just he was playing on the wing, and just how his post contact meters, and how athletic he is with his his aerial threat, you could say. We saw that in his debut, in round 27 against the Rabbitohs. And then obviously off season to be transitioning to a centre, and you've only played a handful of games of rugby league in your life. Well, obviously he played rugby league before he came over the rugby, but the fact that how improved that he has each week. Obviously his first trial game, he wasn't great defensively, but he's just seemed to improve each week. And starting to get the hang of it. And we spoke about it in the green room that he's got this incredible offload with him. And we saw that on Friday night, like his passing. That offload that he did to give Daniel Tupou his second try. That's just a glimpse of what he can do. And he's a very athletic player. And can't wait to see more of him. And he'll be on show again on Friday night.
Yeah, and speaking of, the game last week, actually, you guys took on Penrith, and a lot of people, including myself and a few others, content creators, weren't expecting the Roosters to be really close and competitive against the Panthers. And look, the Panthers, you guys, I thought you guys played outstanding. You guys did just great the way you played. But yeah, what did you make out of that game? What did you take out of that game? Because I don't know how your feelings were going into that game. How confident you were of beating Penrith?
I was not confident whatsoever. I don't think any Roosters fan was confident going into that game. Look, the way I describe it was like go to the when I was heading to the game. It's like hope for the best that we can pull off a miracle, or prepare for the worst. Prepare for a 50, 60-0. Whatever happens. Have a throw at the stumps, see what happens. And from the first try that Alamotti scored, I'm like, oh, it's the question of by how much. The way that how soft that try was, but. And then our first attacking set, we scored. Then we scored again through Watto. I was like, oh, okay, we might be up for the. And every time it was going try for try for the entire game. I'm just like myself, when Penrith scored again to level it up at 24, I'm just waiting for Penrith to go, right, we've had enough of this. Bang, 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 get the game out of bed. But it just didn't come. We just kept coming back at them. And then, and then it was us that went bang, bang, bang to get the 14-point lead. I'm like, oh, we might be home here. Then again, you can never say die with the Panthers. You can never beat them till they're beaten. You can't shut up shop for 5 minutes. They make you pay. They almost did. It was just a great performance. I thought just the senior leaders that played in that game, Tedesco, Tupou, Angus Crichton, those Chad Townsend, they just stood up. They stood up in the big moments. Connor Watson was brilliant. I thought Sandon Smith played his best game in a Roosters jersey. He was just incredible with his running game. I thought our forward pack stood up well. Nafu White, he's a Kiwi as well. He that was one of his best games as well. Just the fact that, with no Lindsay Collins, no Spencer, no Victor Radley, there's three big impact players in the forward pack. They bring that mongrel. He was the one who stood up the forward pack, and took it to, Leota, Liam Henry, those type of guys. They just set a tone. I just felt like even though the Panthers played poorly, but I just felt that the Roosters just made them uncomfortable, and I was speaking about it earlier today, and just like, how do you beat Penrith? Well, that's how you beat Penrith. That's a blueprint to beat Penrith. If you get them into an arm wrestle or a grind, they're going to win that 10 times out of 10. That's their bread and butter. You got to make them uncomfortable, and that's what felt like we did that by, risking our arm kind of thing. Spread the ball. Stuff out of the ordinary that you don't see when you play Penrith. Like, I think there's one in particular moment from last week that stood out for me when we led 24-18. The first set after we scored that try to hit the lead or something like that, we go down the short side. We shift the ball and tackle two. We found space for Daniel Tupou back inside the Angus Crichton, back inside the Sandon Smith to score again. So I felt like, that you don't see that when you're playing Penrith. You don't see a team that just scored points. Your main idea there is to complete your set, kick it down into the corner, and make them work it out. Instead of forcing an error by taking a risk, and then go off that. But Yeah, look, it was a great performance by the boys. Even especially the circumstances of it. We had players like Taylor Lasalu. I don't know if you heard about this, but he's a bricklayer. He's on a 20.
Right.
He's on a 20K, $20,000 salary in New South Wales Cup.
Well,
So he was bricklaying the day after we beat the Penrith, played first grade. He's out on the tools the next day at 7 a.m. Like that's just it
well,
just makes the win even more impressive.
yeah, that sounds good there. But yeah, Mark Miguel was just saying he just asked Wigan and St Helens on how to
Yeah,
beat
it's
Penrith. Yeah,
just if you
well,
want to beat Penrith, just play them in the World Club Challenge. They don't win that. They've never won that.
nah, nah.
So just play them then.
Well, well, we beat them last year in Magic Round, which was
It was very
which
similar. It was very similar
yeah,
where you guys had a lot of players out too
yeah,
in that game. I remember that. I was there as well at Magic Round last year, and just the way how Penrith, how the Warriors just stayed in the fight the entire game, and they got themselves in front in the 80th minute. I remember that game very, very clearly, and I thought of that straight away when the Roosters won. I was like, it's very similar to what the Warriors did last year.
yeah. And speaking of this game coming up, Warriors and Roosters obviously at Go Media Mount Smith Stadium in Auckland, and we'll go through the team list. So I don't know if you got the Roosters team list on your Hainsey there, but
Yeah, I've got the Roosters one here. Yeah.
yeah. So you can go through the Roosters team list, and I'll go through the Wires team. But I'll get you go through the Roosters team first, and yeah, we'll just discuss what our thoughts on the teams and that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, obviously the Roosters starting with the captain James Tedesco, the wingers of Daniel Tupou and Dom Young, the centers of Mark Nwanganitawase and Robert Toya, with the halves of Sandon Smith and Chad Townsend. Some inclusions for the Roosters forward pack. The front rower returns Spencer Linu in jersey number 8 with Connor Watson at hooker. Nafu White remains at front row. The back row of Angus Crichton, Sewa Wong, and Victor Radley is back as well. Obviously, he missed last week due to the concussion he suffered against the Broncos.
Yep.
The bench of Zach Docker-Clay, Selassie Fauketi. Now, with Fauketi, he's actually at the judiciary tonight to seek a downgrade for his grade 2 careless high tackle, which I think is a joke that he got 2 weeks for it. But he's seeking a downgrade. If he's successful, he will be available for selection. So hopefully he gets off there so he can, if he gets to a grade 1, it's a fine, so he's available to play. If not, he will be out of the team. But for now, that the Roosters are expecting, anticipating that he gets, a downgrade to a grade 1 careless high tackle, but that's why he's named in the jersey 15. Blake Steep, Boyd Steep, I like to call him, named from the great Boyd Gordner. And then obviously Lindsay Collins is also back as well after illness last week, but he remains on the bench, which is very interesting. And then obviously the replacement players of Hugo Savala, Taylor Lasalu, which I anticipate that if Fauketi is rubbed out for his suspension, Taylor Lasalu will come in jersey number 19. Billy Smith, Makatoa, and Ethan Roberts is the obviously the reserves there. Trent Robertson is head coach.
Yeah, well, as for the Warriors lineup, so look, as expected, not really any changes there. But fullback is Chance Nickel Klugstad, Tane Toapiki on the wing, and then Ali Leotawa in the centres. With Adam Pompey, then Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, RTS on the other wing with the halves of Chanel Harris-Tavita and Luke Metcalf. Then captain and prop James Fisher-Harris, JFH, and Wade Egan is the hooker, with Mitchell Barnett at the other prop. Kurt Capewell, second row with Marata Niokore and the lock of Aaron Clark. The bench reads Dylan Walker, Jackson Ford, Dimitri Vawanga, and Lika Halasima. And then the reserves. There's been a bit of a change in the reserves this week. We've got Jacob Labour named in 18, Tamari Martin, Freddie Lussick, Bunty Offo, and Rocco Berry. And the coach, of course, is Andrew Webster. Now, the match officials are actually Klein's the head referee for this game. Seems like Hainsey's not a fan to be.
Mate,
But,
I cannot stand Ashley Klein. You always have that one referee that just doesn't like your
Yeah.
team. You know, I'm not sure about the Warriors, but I know for the Roosters,
Oh,
it's Ashley Klein. You know,
yeah.
so look, so it's already 1-0 to the Warriors that you've got Ashley Klein as the referee. So, but
Oh,
look, most of the time referees don't really decide the game. So hopefully
mm.
he stays out of it, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, what are your thoughts on the lineups here? What are your thoughts on the Warriors team there and the Roosters lineup?
Yeah, look, for the Warriors, I don't, obviously, I'm really interested to see the battle between Daniel Tupou and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. Obviously, they played with each other at the Roosters in 2013 with that premiership win. Obviously, yeah, same, sort of similar sides to last week for the Warriors. Bunty Afoa, I'm actually surprised that he's not in the 17. Like, I'm a big fan of Bunty Afoa. But yeah, a bit surprised that he's in the 22. He's not on the bench there anyway. But yeah, it looks a really decent squad from the Warriors. Very big forward pack with obviously Barnett and Fisher Harris. It's a very, very good combination there. Kurt Capewell, experienced back row as well as Nikora, sorry. And then Aaron Clark as well. When did he come from the Titans? Was that last year? This year he came
He
from the
came
Titans?
this.
Yeah.
He came this year. Yeah, he signed
Oh,
from the
okay.
off
Yep,
season
yep, yep.
onwards.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, look, really, really good squad there for the Warriors. I believe unchanged from last week, which is good to see. For my boys, the Roosters, great to see that we've got some experience coming back into the forward pack. I think that's going to be very crucial
Mm,
going forward. That we've got, Spencer and Victor Radley as well in the starting lineup. I thought Nafu White has 100% deserved to start this weekend,
yep.
and I think Lindsay coming back, obviously, is probably maybe still trying to, obviously might be still a little bit of an illness there somewhere, so they might be easing him back into the lineup. But I think at the same time, I think Robbo has earned, said to Nafu, you deserved the starting position after last week, so you're going to stay there starting. I think the one thing that I like the most, though, that we've got Victor Radley at 13. I just don't think with the players that we got. With players out, obviously we've got No Nat Butcher and Egan Butcher, Brandon Smith. So Brandon Smith was playing, we'd have him at 9 and then put Connor Watson at 13. So the fact that we've got Connor Watson at 9, we need someone with ball playing to play at lock, and I think Victor is the guy for it. I don't think it would work with him on the edge while we have like a young player like Blake Steep or Siwa Wong playing 13. I think it needs to be Victor. So I like that he's in the middle at 13 and he's going to take it to this forward pack of the Warriors. And then obviously the bench is great as well. Blake Steep comes on, makes minutes. Same for, for Ketty. Hopefully he's available to play. Zach Docker-Clay. I think that's one thing as well with Zach Docker-Clay. He comes off the bench. Connor Watson then goes on to play at 13, which we saw that last week, that he plays those both positions. I think, we're going to see Connor Watson play close to 80 minutes again. And then obviously off the bench as well there for Lindsay Collins will come on about the 25th minute mark and, become that impact player. I wouldn't be surprised if, there might be a late change with Lindsay starting over Spencer and then Spencer coming on as an impact player. But, but yes, as a much better squad that we've seen from the first 2 rounds. But, it's just good reinsurance that we've got some senior leaders, back in the lineup to strengthen our team.
Yeah, especially I think for you guys, obviously Lindsay Collins back into the side is a massive win for the Roosters. I think it's a huge win because with the experience he brings to the table as well, and yeah, you've got some big inclusions this week in your side, and yeah, I think it's a very good Roosters team. I like like the looks of it. Obviously, you got Angus Crichton, Seo Wong, Radley. It's a very strong forward pack for the Roosters. Yeah.
Angus, I thought was one of their best players last week. No, he was like the
Yeah.
senior player in that forward pack. I think he
Mm,
said it on the during the after the game. He's like, "There's
yeah.
no one coming to help us. This is our forward pack. Let's take it to him." And he had a personal battle with Liam Martin. The 2 Origin back rows for New South Wales. And I think the same thing will be this weekend when he's probably up against. I'm pretty sure it'll be Kurt Capewell on the left there. So, but yeah, he'll take it personally to that battle there. So Yeah, it's much better than what we saw last week, like squad wise. Like, and there's no disrespect to the players that played last week, but it's just more reassuring that we've got, Spencer, who's a 3-time premiership winner. Victor Radley's a 2-time premiership winner. Lindsay Collins is a 2-time premiership winner. So it definitely improves the side. Importantly, there.
Yeah, I look, those players, obviously those are the important players for you guys, especially Radley and Crichton and Angus Crichton. He's one of the best forwards in the game. Had a great year last year for you guys. So yeah, I think look, the Roosters team up. There's a lot of positives for the Roosters in this in terms of their lineup this week. And Connor Watson, I thought played well last week for you guys. How did you reckon? How did you rate Connor Watson's performance? Because I thought he played particularly strong.
No, it's such a relief that we got him back because we remember he went to Newcastle in 2018 and
Mm.
we got him back in 2022. And he's such a hard working hooker. And we saw it was on show. He makes 50 tackles a game. And then he comes off to play lock as well when Docker Clay comes on. So he plays in any position. He's like that, utility in the forwards. He can cover any positions, and he just works hard, competes for every play. And I love what he does. And to see him played Origin last year, he just keeps improving every year, Connor Watson. So yeah, great player. It's glad that he's in red, white, and blue. That's for sure.
Yeah, look, as for our side, I just to cover up on our side, and look, I think last week there was a lot of talk. There was a lot of talk around, by the fans about changes, team changes, and how Webster is stuck with the same players that, the round one loss in Vegas was disappointing. It was not a great performance by us, but the fact that those players who played in that game and were named to play in the game against the Seagulls, they turned up and they performed. And they had to step up after that round one loss in Vegas. So yeah, was pretty happy with the way they played last week. But I'm hoping they can bounce back. Continue on with that form this week as well. And Lukey Metcalf and Sienna Harris-Tavita as a halves combination. This is their second game as a this is actually no, it's their, no, actually no, round one, round two, and then it's this game. So yeah, it's their third game as a halves combination. So yeah, what what do you make of the Warriors halves combination there and Harris, Tavine and Metcalf from watching as a neutral? What do you make out of it?
Yeah, look, I thought it's hard to get a read on a halves combination in their first game, and I'm sure that a lot of people would have had their thoughts and opinions about halves combination in Vegas, and it was the same with us, in the trial games as well with Chad Townsend and Sandon Smith. It's a work in progress. And it's always hard to do it to step into the role to play halfback after arguably one of your best players of all time in Sean Johnson. It's like the expression when the difficult job of going in the bat after Don Bradman. So it's hard. It's hard though, and they'll get better. And they've got good mentors there, and I believe Stacey Jones and Sean Johnson are there working around together with them. So I'm sure they'll get better as the year goes on. It's not gonna, it's not gonna be you're not gonna be like Thurston and Cronk in Origin after the first game. So they'll get better throughout the year. It's a building progress with those two. They've got the potential there, and we saw that on Friday night with you guys with how Luke Metcalf played. So it's a building progress, and I'm sure come back into the season we'll see, how improved they are.
Yeah, exactly right. But just looking at some of these matchups on the field, what is a matchup you say is going to be the difference between winning for your boys on Friday night and getting those 2 points?
I think it has to be the forward pack. It's very, very, it's a very crucial game. Sorry, it's very, cliche game, rugby league. You win games off your, setting the tone from your forward pack and setting a platform for your outside backs to do their magic. And looking at the forward packs here, it's pretty even across the board. Obviously, you got Spencer Lenu and Fisher Harris. In the hooker department, Wade Egan, Connor Watson, very similar hookers. Nafu White, Mitch Barnett as well. Kurt Capewell experienced first grader, Angus Crichton. The same here with Siwa Wong. Played a handful of games for a couple of seasons now. Nickera, and then obviously Aaron Clark, Victor Radley. I think personally, we just have the edge, but it's a very, very even forward pack, and I think especially after last week, Fisher Harris and Mitch Barnett at home, they want to send a statement, to any pack in the competition. Like if you want to beat us on our home turf, you got to go through us. So, and I think that's what Canberra did in Vegas. Oh, my bad. But that's what they did in Vegas, with Joseph Tarpany and Papali'i and that. So, but I think like it's cliche game rugby league. You win by your forward pack, and I think the forward pack is the crucial battle in this one.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at our four pack, and we'll read this comment real soon. But it's just looking at our four pack. It's obviously going to be the main difference, I think, for me, because against the Raiders, our four pack wasn't quite up there, physically outplayed by the Raiders in Vegas, and then against Manly they need to step up to the plate, and I think they did, especially Barnett and Fisher Harris and Aaron Clark as well, who had a great game for us on the week on the in that game against the Seagulls as well. So I'll just look at our four pack. It's probably going to be very important moving forward. They need to back up their performance from last week against the Seagulls, because you guys have got a strong four pack as well with Nafahu White, Crichton, Wong, Radley, and we've got, of course, Barnett, Capewell, Nickera, and Clark. So they all need to step up to the plate. And then, of course, the way that Webster uses his bench is going to be a big talking point as well, because, against the Seagulls, I think he got that much better on because his bench rotations in that game against the Raiders weren't great at all, to be quite honest. But, I just think that's going to be important moving forward with the forwards. But the halves, that's an interesting battle itself. We've got two young players in CHT and Luke Metcalf, and you've obviously got the young Sandon Smith and the experience of Chad Townsend as well. So what do you make out of that battle? That'll be interesting to see how those two goes. With their kicking games and the Warriors side of the kicking game. So how do you think that's going to go?
We've been pretty even as well in the halves compartment. I thought Chad Townsend got his kicking right last week due to I just felt that with our kicking game, with our kick chase, in our high field bombs, we were having them a lot shallower. We gave Dom Young and Daniel Tupou and Tedesco our back three, to get to the ball and make it a contest, and then also made Dylan Edwards and Brian Toto and those guys to leap forward, to go run 10, 15 minutes to sprint onto the ball to catch it instead of setting yourself underneath it, just a simple catch and all that. So I thought our kicking game was a lot better last week. I didn't obviously see a lot of the Warriors game because I was on my way out the Combank on last Friday, but from what we saw, much better performance by the halves compartment there for the Warriors. So and like I said earlier, I think they'll get better each week. But look, in a simple game rugby league, if the forward pack for the Warriors are on top, that's when we see the shining lights of
exactly.
Harris Favita and Luke Metcalf, Nickel Klostad out the back, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, and that's what you'll see when the forwards are on top dominating the game, sets the platform for the outside back. So, if the forwards do their job, it makes a lot life easier for our halves, to get themselves into the game.
Yeah, exactly right. And I know some people are quite critical of the halves in our last game in Vegas, and I said to a lot of people, just give Metcalf a bit of time, and it's just, he hasn't played a lot of seven for the Warriors. It's not an easy position to fill. Obviously with SJ retiring as well, and those are big shoes to fill. It's he looked good in the preseason as well. I know it's only preseason, but he showed some good signs there, but he was. I felt the way he played last week was particularly strong there. But just on our outside backs, There's a comment here by Spider-Man. He's saying here, Wales need to fix their right wing. There, we caught off guard. RTS looked lost and picked up the pace. Yeah, he did a few times last week. He was just a little bit uncharacteristic from Rogers. You don't often see it, but he got caught out a few times with the two tries that Manly scored in particular. So I don't know. Maybe the Roosters will be looking at it that as a weakness on the Warriors side of things. But I don't know what you think on that one, Hainsey, because if you're looking for a
Um,
weakness, the Warriors do have, a couple of weaknesses at the moment. They're not. It's not quite clicking yet, but obviously, I think maybe that side of the Warriors, in terms of their wingers and centres, I think we do seem to get a little bit caught out defensively at times. So, yeah, what do you think on that one?
Look, I think like the fact that you guys were up against a quality opposition against Manly last week, and you know
Mm,
Turbo and Cherry Evans can see that with a player. And
yep.
obviously he's got a fast winger in Jason Saab on that left edge. They can just easily throw the ball, and you give him a little bit of space, he can run circles around you, which we saw in the early stage of that game. But look, Roger's a experienced campaigner. He's played in the NRL for nearly what year did he debut with us, for 13 years or so. He knows what he's doing. And I think he'll be up for the challenge up against his old mate Daniel Tupou as well.
Yes.
I think that's going to be a great battle there. So and look, it comes with time. If it's a new combination and new right side defense, it takes time. We're in the same boat. Our right side defense, has been a question for the last couple of weeks, not until last week, but obviously in round one in the trial games, it was put under the spotlight. So yeah, at the end of the day, Rogers is an experienced campaigner. He knows what he's doing. He's been in these situations before. So I'm sure that, a few adjustments defensively at training during the week will get himself ready for Friday night.
Yeah, and Jacko's just saying here we must start faster. So yeah, well, what is going to be the key, key to success to get the win for you guys? So, like, what do you need to do in order to stop the Warriors? Do you guys need to get off to a good start because Manly got off to a good start last week? They scored first, and then for the first 6 minutes, I thought Manly were on top, and then we did well to hang in there, and then we start to get a bit of confidence to score the first try, and then Manly they just couldn't. They were frustrated. A lot of their key players from Manly were frustrated out of the game. Likes of your Cherry Evans, Tommy Turbo, they weren't having their best games. So, do you think a start will be really important for you guys on Friday? Like how you start this game and maybe take the home crowd out of it. Yeah, what do you think there?
I don't know. Like we started well against the Broncos and conceded 50, so I don't know. And
Yeah.
then we obviously conceded the first try in 2 minutes last week and we won. So, but the fast start will be crucial. I think both teams can agree on this that after a surprise win, they want to back it up. Both teams are coming off great wins where they weren't expected to win, so they want to go out and back it up. And I think the start will be very important. So,
Mm,
and I don't really see a lot of points in this game, especially in New Zealand. It's very slow track. Not sure what the weather's like.
yep.
Most likely it's going to be very dewy. Might rain. Don't know what the conditions are going to be like. So, is normally when the Roosters play over there, we don't see a lot of points. So, I think it'll be a very low scoring game. I think for the Roosters, it's just those little 1% of the effort plays that we saw last week that at the same time we didn't see against the Broncos. We just compete for every play. Back each other. They're one of the key fundamentals to get the job done. Just compete for every play. Because what we saw against the Broncos, where we sort of gave up on a play on tackle 5, they pulled our pants down. So at the end of the day, it's just a fast start, and those little 1%ers and compete for every play would be the key moments of success on Friday night.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much what we tried. I felt like for the Warriors, the key for them this game is what they just completely what they did last week. Just take on that improvement, step up. The halves, obviously, but then the forwards as well. If the forwards can have a good game like Fisher Harris, Barnett, Clark, if those guys can have a big impact on the game, I think the likes of your Metcalfs and Harris Tavieres will play a part, and then obviously our outside backs who had a great game last week with Tane there on the wing, and CNAC had a good solid game as well at fullback, and then of course we got Leah Towell in the centres as well. So yeah, I think just basically just what you usually would in NRL rugby league expect. The completion rates to be high. Get to your kick. Don't make any errors. Too many errors.
Yep.
Make your tackles. Just the usual, as you'd expect. Which
Yeah.
I'm hoping that's the
Like,
case.
like I said, rugby league's a simple game. It really is.
It's just a simple
You know,
game.
it's complete your sets.
Mm,
No silly penalties, no silly errors. You know, and
yeah.
limit what you can control. So that's one thing I could say as well.
Yeah, and Jacko's right there on a good start. I think we need to have a good start. We haven't started well in our 2 games. We've been down early, so I don't think we can afford a real slow start again this week. Because knowing your boys coming off a confidence boosting win over Penrith, and you're away. So if you guys get off to a good start and we can't, match it, I know the Roosters actually do have a great record over the Warriors over the years. We actually haven't beaten you guys I think it's 2018 or something. It was the
Yeah. I was thinking
last
about
time
that
we ever
earlier.
beat you.
Yeah,
So
2018 was the
yeah,
last time you guys beat us. It's a good record against the Warriors, and a few of those wins in New Zealand too. So, it's
mm,
not new seeing the Roosters win in New Zealand. We've got a great record in the last couple of years, but it is going to be a tight game. It always is in New Zealand. I remember the last game we played over there was 14-0, I believe. It
yeah,
was a
it's
very,
crazy.
very, it was a scrappy, but it was a very, very hard fought game. That was. It is always going to be a good game. Very even teams, I think.
Mm.
And I wouldn't be surprised if this game goes right down to the wire.
Yeah, that game especially, that was a game where it was very wet
Yeah, it
conditions,
was. I remember we were doing the watch
and
along a couple of years ago. Yeah.
yeah, we struggled to handle those conditions, and then obviously we played you guys last year in Sydney, and you guys won that pretty convincingly. Obviously, last year wasn't a great season for us. All the highs of 2024, 2023, 23, 23.
Yeah, 23. Yeah,
23.
23. Yeah.
Yeah, 23 is all the highs of 2023, and then obviously last year wasn't the greatest years, and we played you guys there, and you guys gave us a bit of a hammering there, smashed us pretty much, but what are you expecting? Like a score prediction? What's your score prediction? And what are you anytime try scorers? Because I'm gonna, of course, back the boys in here. I do expect it to be a very tight affair. Actually, I do think it's gonna be a close game. Now, I'm obviously hoping for a more comfortable game, but I don't think it's gonna be the case. Your boys will be really competitive, really up for it. Like I said, I know you guys have got a great record over us over the years. So I'm hoping we can, break that run. But you will be hoping it will continue. So what do you think? Score prediction.
Yeah, I think it's going to be high scoring, low scoring.
Mm,
So obviously, same with you. I'm going to back my boys in the win. So I am going to go the Roosters 18 points to 10. I think it'll be
yeah.
low scoring and a bit of an arm wrestle, but I think we'll just have enough class in the outside backs to get us over the line.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Warriors 20. Ooh, actually no. Yeah, I'll go Warriors 21, Roosters 20, 20, 21-20.
Hey, all
Yeah,
right, like it.
by a point. By a point. Yeah, 21-20. And anytime try score, I reckon I'll throw in Tane to a picky to score. And we'll go with Leah Tower to score as well. Ali Leah Tower to score. So those are my try scorers for this game. But yeah, Jason Reed is going with the Roosters 1-12. And he's going with the Roosters scoreline of 22 points to 16 there. But that wraps it up, guys. I'd like to thank Hainsey for coming on. Really do appreciate him for coming on and giving us time up to preview this game against the big game Warriors Roosters on Friday night, and may the best team win. Good luck to his Roosters, and yeah, look, I'm obviously hoping our boys can get the result and get the win to go 2 wins and 1 loss. But thanks Hainsey for coming on.
Pleasure, mate. Always great fun coming on here. just to the live chat, please look after me in New Zealand on Friday because I will be heading over there. So hopefully, if you guys do beat, if we do beat you, just please be nice. But yeah, looking forward to it. But yeah, pleasure as always, Christian. Good fun.
And no worries at all. And just take one more comment. So off scoring last year, she completely ignored to the rule and knock on. What's this? We lost the challenge plus. I'm not too sure what's going on about there. But yeah. Yeah. Thanks guys for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Like the stream. Don't forget to click the thumbs up on the live stream. And don't forget to make sure you do go and subscribe to Hainsey on YouTube as well. Go and subscribe to his channel and subscribe more importantly as well to both our channels, all the Warriors content creators, because I always like to say they always do a great job. But yeah, really do appreciate it, guys. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you guys all in the next one. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Up the wires.